Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 153 of Fans of Power. I'm Nathan Kennedy, filling in for our main man, Tyler Baker, here with Joe Amato. And Joe, Tyler's out on the town. He's
out playing hot dogs and donuts or something. I don't know. He's out doing something, doing his thing. So.
He's courting a lady. All he did was, he threw on a special tank top, went like this, girls lined up. He went through and he's like, I choose you. And they went on a date. So hopefully that is going well. I'm sitting here. When Tyler gave us the news when we were done with Beyond Retro, he's like, I don't think I'm going to make Fans of Power. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, oh, man.
I was like, that's my boy. I was like, there you go. That's the way to do it, T-Rex. He's going to come back, and he's going to be different next week. He's going to be all happy. Like, hey, guys, I'm hoping that the new movie is going to be fantastic when they make it. I love Shield. I love everything.
You know what? Like, Chris Pratt's actually really awesome.
Yeah, he loves it all. And real quick, I want to say hello to JSP, Eric, Eamon, Zentron, JD Gibson, Lio Convoy's Reviews. And yeah, I think I got everybody in the chat room. If I missed somebody, I'm sorry.
I just imagine how everyone's watching this and they're like, oh man, that guy, and everyone just like tunes out right now. They just all click off. It's done. It's over. Like, I'll wait for the next one.
Shoot, man, you did fine last time too. And what's up, Jeff Foster, for joining? Thank you for joining us. But you'll do fine. But I did want to show you one thing. We were talking earlier before we get into the conversation. I was talking about Masters of the Universe and some mini comics and other things and figures coming up. But we did a podcast earlier. We were talking about Halloween and whatever, blah blah blah. Well, today I went and got something to eat, and after that I went to a video rental store. Like, oh my God, there actually is a video rental store still. But yeah, it's called Family Video.
Oh, and yeah. No, yeah. I've bought a few things from their website. It's actually a really cool store from what I've seen from other videos.
No, it is, and it's cool, and it's fun to go. It's fun to go into. And hello, Grimbot in the chat room. But so I went in there, and they have like Halloween movies up right in the middle for you to rent, and they have a lot of old ones and new ones, and they had all the old Halloween movies. And just to let you know, Halloween 1 and 2 were gone. Halloween 3 was still sitting there. 4 and 5, they were gone, but they didn't have 6. And H2O and Resurrection were still sitting there. So I just want to rub that in Tyler's.
I mean, that, you know what, the way that makes sense that those are the ones that are left because, people. I like Season of the Witch, but obviously should not have been called Halloween. Just call it Season of the Witch. Let it be its own thing. Whatever. Yeah. But people automatically turned off by that. But Resurrection and
H2O, they just sat there, but they got 4 and 5.
They should. Those two films need to sit there and just collect dust forever.
Yep, and I'm blurry again. Hold on, I'm going to try to, I apologize for the blurriness. But yeah, 4 and 5, they were gone. But one thing before we get going, I just want to show something cool. I
got some stuff to show you as well. Before you get into your thing, Leo Convoy Reviews, it was just like, where's Tyler? Tyler's out perusing the town, schmozzing, showing some young filly a good time. And then he asked, of course, about the My Little Pony over here. Yeah, that's my girlfriend's. It's not mine.
He says it all the time.
I say it all the time, but really, genuinely, I'm not like Joe. I'm not going to sit here and pull the wool over your eyes and lie.
Actually, just want to let everybody know that is watching or listening. After the podcast was over, the one time when that was brought up, Nathan said, okay, Joe, I just want to show you this. And he showed me his entire collection of My Little Ponies. And he says, this is all my stuff. But he puts it on his imaginary girlfriend. But, So I want to... No, I got you. But anyway, so he has a girlfriend, but she doesn't like My Little Pony. It's Nathan's stuff. So I was in Family Video. And
Family Dollar makes more sense to me.
I'm in there too because I always get the food there. What's up, Adam Gabbert? But anyways, I was in there and they had a poster up on the wall, and I was like, hey, I said, you guys got some more of those posters? And he said, actually, that poster's all gone. They said, but I'll tell you what, you could take that one that's on the wall for free. I said,
of course.
And no, and they did. I said, you seriously? Said, yeah, and check this thing out, man. It's advertising that Friday the 13th game, but anytime you could see some art dedicated to like Part 8 Jason, I was like, man, it looked retro and old school. I was like, that looked cool as hell.
Joe,
so, what?
I kind of hate you a little bit right now.
Don't you?
I'm gonna be honest.
And what's even cooler is when they had it taped on the wall. They said you could take it off, and I had this little rip there, but I was like, you know what? That little rip, that's character. It makes it look old school and vintage. So I was like, that's cool. I thought I'd rub it in your face.
I feel like if I'm not mistaken, they may have re-released that in like a collector's edition or something, and the poster may have come with. I don't know. Maybe that's just promotional material, but I could have swore that there was also one attached to the collector's edition. But
I honestly don't know, but I was like, that's cool as hell. And I didn't know if you had it, but I was like, I thought I'd show you just in
no,
case
but
you
it looks cool. You jerk.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what I am. I'm usually the jerk, but all right. Well,
The stuff that I want to show, I went out today. We usually go to like Target and things like that, but some NECA figure displays. This was $10, and you get 10 stands, so that's pretty good. Because some of those figures, honestly, no matter what you do with the feet, especially I've seen them in the packaging, it just looks off. Some of them are hard to stand up. And if Tyler manages to just watch the episode just so he can make sure I didn't fail miserably, they only had one of these left, and we've been talking about them, but. The vinyl figures, Miami Vice, we got Crockett and Tubbs right there. You just see a bunch of reflection. But
now I see it. Now I see it.
So we got that, and that's really all I wanted to show off that I picked up today.
Cool. It's always good to show your wares, but all right. Well, I was going to let everybody know now. Super 7 is taking pre-orders starting tomorrow for the next wave of the Club Grayskull Wave 3 assortment, which is going to be Fisto, Grizzlor, Mantenna, and She-Ra. Now those, I think they're going to have them up till, is it November 15th? I want to make sure I have the date right. I think it's November 15th.
I have it up right here. Let me check. Of course, they don't have it here at the top, and I got to keep scrolling.
Well,
yeah, through November 15th.
Okay, and of course, with those, you have to get the entire set, and then if you'd order the whole set, then you can buy individual versions of Fisto, She-Ra, but you can't just get them one at a time, which some people I know like to pick and would like to pick and choose.
Well, I mean, that's
a chunk of money,
Yes, I mean that makes sense. I wish that option were available, because not everyone wants to drop $140, and they might not want all of them. So it's sort of like, well, what do you do? I guess you could resell the ones you don't want, or just pack them away.
No, I mean, I agree. Like I said, that's a chunk of money. I mean, if people can afford it, I mean, hell, great, more power to them. But not everybody might be able to, but if you can, they start tomorrow. Like I said, it's tomorrow all the way till November 15th. And also, they're going to do the ultimate versions of the Filmation versions of He-Man and Skeletor. And I know a lot of people hated going for them on the secondary market, paying almost like $150 to $200 for just one figure. Well, they're going to release those. Now, those are also going on sale tomorrow up till November 15th. The cool thing with that is those can be bought individually. You don't have to get them as a set. So if you just want He-Man or Skeletor, it's your prerogative. You can do it. And also, at least for the He-Man figure, they're going to add a little stuff to this ultimate version. They're going to do the robot face, the one that we've seen when Man-at-Arms was creating the robot He-Man. They're going to have the laughing head He-Man, and they're going to have a glow-in-the-dark faker version with, I'm sorry, not glow-in-the-dark, glowing eyes.
Yeah.
From the picture, I mean, obviously it's a Photoshop picture. It makes it look like if you flick on a switch, boom, the eyes would light up. But I think it's going to be painted. But yeah. Are those things, any of those you might be interested, or
you know what? I might honestly pick up the He-Man and Skeletor, because I remember when the classics came out, and I remember Tyler's just like, man, you got to get in on this. And I was just like, yeah, I mean, because I've always just sort of faded in and out with it, and I should have done it then. But I think the cool thing about the ultimate version here is, since it comes with that laughing head, if you have a Prince Adam, you can just throw it on there if you wanted that exclusive, So,
no, true. I mean, you could get that, or you could just get. I mean, see, it's the thing. Something that Adam and He-Man did in the cartoon. They all remember that's that classic animation of leaning back, doing the laughing. So, well,
I'm just saying, like, you have that ability now. If you were to get this for $35, you could take that head and put it on a Prince Adam, and boom, there you go. You got that one. But I will probably do those. I honestly, I would like to have that Fisto, but
you won't do the whole 140. I know, like not everybody.
Because I just honestly don't have any interest in having a She-Ra figure. But I wish the option was there. I understand why they do it, because the business model and whatever. But still, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money in an exclusive. I know why they have to do it. But okay, first let me say hello to Fedmon as well in the chat room. Thank you for joining us. But okay, here's the thing, because a lot of people say, they're real pricey or they're expensive. And I guess when it's a limited run, they have to have the prices a little higher. Because, of course, if these things were put into mass retail, they would be cheaper.
Yep.
Because they'd be pumping out a lot more. But when it's limited, well, there you go. It's like, for example, the loyal subjects, as you know, for like I don't know 2 years or I don't know if it's been two or more, but it seems like it's been a long time. They've been pumping out the same set of figures in variant colors from different store to store. And people have been real adamant about, are you guys ever going to make some new figures? We would like some new figures. Well, they finally started showing some of their new figures, and one of them is an Orko. And I got to give it to them. I mean, I know the colors, as Grimbot would say in the chat room, aren't Filmation accurate, but it's still close enough. And I know that they're just trying to put out a version close to it. And hell, you never know, maybe they'll have color variants. But their Orko has to be the best looking Orko I've ever seen. I mean, honestly, for me, obviously the vintage one, was oversized. It never looked like Orko. And like I told you, I used to use my little rubber eraser that I repainted. Yeah, that was my Orko because I was like, hey man, he's in scale with the vintage figures. But even compared to the classics, I'm like, damn, that looks cool. And here's the thought of it. It's only going to be $12.99, and hell, some people sell those loyal subjects for $9.99. So instead of paying almost $30 or on the secondary market for that original Oracle for classics, some people are paying $50 to $70. For $12.99, you get this cool ass thing, and the price. The reason it's cheaper is these are mass produced into retail.
Yeah, but aren't these also like the mystery ones as well? You don't know who you're going to get.
No. That's the other thing I think they're changing. I think going forward, their model now is they're going to come in those clear like window boxes.
That's smart because I like the gimmick's kind of cool, but when you're spending that amount of money, you don't want to double up, and it sucks to just here's $13. Let me take this chance. Ah, crap, I already got this.
Right. I hated that too. But this, I think it's window box, and I even thought, well, even if it wasn't, it's going to be the lightest feeling box because it's Orko. So I mean, compared to all the other figures, I mean, that was the same thing when you found Eva Lynn or Tila. You knew you had her at the store because she almost weighed nothing. But Orko will be super light. But trust me, if you guys haven't seen it, just do some Google searching of loyal subjects Orko, and you won't believe how.
None of these guys have to do Google searches. They all have your Facebook page bookmarked on their phones and their computers, so they can just one click. Oh, what's Joe posting about today?
Right. No, and I did put it on my wall at one time, and my God, I couldn't believe it. It showed the passion for that figure, though. That got some of the most likes and shares that I've seen of anything I post was that Orko figure. I was like, God, that's even more than other figures I posted that are coming out from companies. So I think people were feeling it. You know what I mean? Just thinking,
I was just thinking, here's the part in the show where I do my Tyler impression. It's like, oh, it's a great Joe motto. Everybody's got. Hang on, let me rip off these sleeves real quick.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Exactly. And also, I just want to say hello to Delva78 who joined us in the chat room too. Thank you for joining us because Delva said, hey, you should make a mold of that eraser and sell it. But no, you guys are going to be getting the best Orko probably that you've ever seen. It's me. It's just my opinion. You might think, Joe, you're a moron. I think that the vintage one looks better. I think the classics is better. But for me, it's like, I think it's just a hell of a thing for $12.99. And I'm still curious on the scale. It's like, we know loyal subjects figures in general are the smaller things. It's like, well, is this going to be an extra small Orko, or will he be almost the same scale as classics?
How disappointing would that be for you if it was even like a smaller scale? Yeah. It's like your eraser turns out to be bigger than that one.
Now, if that happened, that's too damn small. But I'm picturing it'll be almost the exact size of that classics Orko. So, guys, just go ahead. Like I said, do some searching later, and you can find out other things they have. They're going to do a Battle Cat, Battle Armor, He-Man. They got a lot of cool things coming up. So at least finally, there's some new figures for loyal subjects.
Yeah, it's always cool to see, because I always hated it too, especially with that first run. It seemed like they were just putting out the same characters. Like, oh, well, here's one or two different ones. It's nice to see that they're starting to branch out more, and it's like, well, we're going to do this, and this. So that's neat.
It is good, especially when people were buying so many different variants. It's like, okay, now it's time to give new figures, and they'll probably give 20 different variants of that as well. But I'm usually good for one figure. I'm not after every slight different shade or color of a figure. It's like, it's fine. That one looks pretty good, but yeah, unless it's one of those hard chase figures that's worth $400, $500, I'm like, yeah, then I'll sell it.
Yeah. Zentron says I need to adorn a tank top to make up for Tyler's absence. Sir, you don't want to see these arms after you guys have spent almost 3 years looking at his big arm. You do not want to see these little noodles hanging from my shoulders.
The noodles. And oh yeah, and Lio Convoy in the chat room said he bought 8 cases of the Low Subject Thundercats. Window boxes are fine for me. So yeah, use that.
Because that's just, they look awesome. It's just the problem is just, man, like $13 is a good price, but if you do not know what you're getting, that's a tough sell. So it's good if they are going that direction.
Yeah, because the one thing that confused me was I thought when I was going for some of the horror ones, looking for the Jason ones, I thought they explained that there are some window boxes that are blacked off. It has like a tinted window, if you will.
Yeah.
One of them has that, but they said that doesn't guarantee you're getting a chase. You could get a tinted box and it still be a normal one. And they said in some cases the chase might be right in the open. I'm like, man, you guys lost me. I don't know what the hell you're saying. So some tinted, maybe not, but then you might be able to see some right from the go. It's like my head exploded when I heard somebody try to explain it. But I did see a tinted box, and I was one of the unfortunate people that bought it and got a regular Freddy Krueger that you could buy without the tinted box. So I was pissed.
Where did you end up picking that up at?
Hot Topic. They were at Hot Topic.
Okay, yeah, I think isn't who else is in that wave? I know it's Freddy, Jason. They got a couple other characters.
They have Pennywise. I thought they had. I don't know if it's both. Yeah, I think they have both versions of Pennywise from the original and the new one, and also Reagan from Jesus Christ, Exorcist. Yeah.
I think that may have been one that I saw at Hot Topic, and that was the only one they had, because I was looking for Jason from Part 2. I was hoping that maybe I'd run into him and pick him up, but no. That's the only one I came across.
Yeah, I think that Part 2 one, and then they have Roy's version. Out of all things and out of people I have, you have Roy. That's what cracked me up. And I think the Chase Metallic outfit one or something. Again, I don't care about getting the chases. If I just get a regular Roy and a regular Part 2, I'm fine with that.
What is stopping these? Part 8. I want a Part 8, Jason. Come on, Nick. Anybody, give me some more Part 8 stuff. Yeah, you're going to show the poster again?
Really? That's why I love this. I'm like, damn, they made the game, and they did this poster, and I guess they realized that Part 8 doesn't get enough love, and it's such a unique, different look of Jason.
It's like it's just like a...
slimy, wet look, and then that different chevrons on the mask. It's like, just release the damn figure. If you guys hated the movie, release the figure. But also, Zen Brown just joined us, so bam, thank you for joining us. But yeah, I don't get it, man. But well, before we get into our mini comic discussion and stuff, we wanted to at least pass it by you. Sad. Yeah, because it's something Tyler and I always ramble, and even the chat room ramble about it. But I'd like to hear your perspective on, let's say, if they finally gave us a damn movie. Yeah. If we finally got a Masters of the Universe movie, what is something you would want and hope to see in this movie? What are some key points, whether it's designs or plots? What would you like to see in a new movie?
Chris Pratt as He-Man. Done.
You had to do that for Tyler, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. No, I mean, of course, it would be awesome to have a movie that followed more of the animated show. Take elements from that and put it all together. It'd be cool to see Trapjaw and Triclops and actually have it there on Eternia. And they can do that now with CG. But I would honestly, I think it'd be cooler if they actually had real physical sets. It would be cool to see, like, they put the effort, even if it's just a miniature and they shot it that way. It'd be cool to see Castle Grayskull in that form that's not from a computer. As far as what I'd like to see story-wise, the plenty of material to choose from. You could pick some stuff from the mini comics and sort of hodgepodge it all together. Do something from the animated show. That's when Tyler and I do capes and commentaries. I'd never understand, like, when we're watching Batman the animated series, I'm like, why is it so difficult for them to do a new Batman or even a Justice League film? It's like there's plenty of comic books and animated shows that were done very well done that you could take any of those and pick apart, be like, let's do it based off of this. And they choose not to. They choose to just go in this other direction, and it's, I don't know. What would you like to see, Joe? I've never really sat and talked with you guys about what you want out of this? Because I know you're both sitting there like, all right, yeah, they're saying the movie's going to happen. Oh, yeah, okay. And you're just waiting for the proof that it's either in production or whatever. And I know it's come almost close, but then it just fell off again. Where are they even at with it now? I haven't heard anything.
Well,
since
there hasn't been anything because now apparently, like Mattel is having something where they are going to have some kind of movie studios, and maybe they'll do something. So, just like we said, this movie that over 2 years ago that they were promising was going to be out December of 2019, and we said not to be like like oh fuddy duddies, but when we said, guys, it's been going on for 16 years, it just ain't going to happen. They can't get out that quickly. And everybody said, no, trust me, it's going to happen this time, Joe. Well, again, it didn't happen. It's not going to. But first, let me bring up what some of the people in the chat room were saying, because I always like hearing what they have to say as well when it comes to the movies. Right here. Lio Convoy's review said, I just want to see them have someone on staff to consult over the He-Man lore. And that would be great. It would be nice if they actually have somebody that really knows the lore of Masters of the Universe.
So you and Tyler.
Hey, there you go. We're all aboard. But no, see, I don't understand sometimes why. Yes, I know that there's always different takes, as we know when they turn something to a movie in Hollywood, but they sometimes go in so many crazy, insane directions. You wonder, did you read any of the original comics? And that's from mini comics to comic books to watching the cartoons. Like, did you see the stuff that people have loved all these years and have been wanting to see again and brought back, but now you can turn it into a movie, and now you have the special effects to do some amazing stuff? It's like, don't you see that there's a history though? Why always go so far and stray off? Like when you were hearing in one of the scripts that possibly Skeletor was going to be somebody disfigured wearing a skeleton mask. It's like,
no.
Why? In what world would anybody? I've never heard anybody say I'd want to see that. And Zen Brown says just stick to the material. And JSP said for both heroic and evil warriors being referred to as masters of the universe. And I know that's something even Tyler said. He sometimes hates when just the heroes were called that. And then I always like to stick and jab at Tyler. I'm like, but Tyler, remember the original mini comics? They were called Masters of the Universe in there too. He said, oh, shut up, Joe. Like, he always his way of saying that. Grimm said, I have a feeling modern Hollywood would do Earth like Eternia, but with piss-colored sky. Yeah, probably. It would probably look like a mess. Zentron, yay, I got the job as director of the new He-Man movie. Oh, wait, that was just me in my dreams. Yeah, I guess that would have been. Lio City's sick of people using established characters to tell their story. He said they should do as Aaron Sparrow says, and I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. But Delvis said he'd like to see one movie set up another. Oh, Jabber DG just joined us for a trilogy. That'd be cool. And don't water it down like Zen Brown said. But yeah, I would just want, if anything, I'd like them to take some of the source material we know, have characters look similar to what we know, and not stray off too far to look so different that you're wondering, who are these characters? Who are these people? Have them look similar. I mean, my God, through all the years of looking at Skeletor, even though he's had different origins, one being a demon from another dimension, and at one time being, Keldor / Skeletor, and being King Randor's brother, and all the different stuff. I want him to at least still look like Skeletor, still let him be this blue kind of demon, a skull face, the similar outfit. I mean, it was an adjustment when I seen Frank Langella, as Skeletor with a black kind of like robe and the white skull face, and it looked weird, but after years, I appreciate it, but initially, God, I couldn't stand it. It took a while for me to like it. But at least keep them looking similar. And it's like, okay, here's the other thing, like talking about Halloween, just to go off tangent real quick. I think about the Halloween movies, and then I think about when they did that Halloween comic years ago. And then I think about then when they did H2O and Resurrection, and some of those were like, oh God, what were they thinking? And I thought, damn, how is it they can get it good in a comic? How could they create a unique, cool story and have it spin off of somebody like following Loomis's notes, like somebody being related to Loomis, and having one of the kids that seen the evil within Michael Myers' eyes when he was a kid, like it still was like bothering him all these years? I was like, why can they write this into comics sometimes so damn good, but then transition into movie, they go in some goofy direction. So I would just say for a movie, please keep it looking similar to what we know and story-wise. I always keep saying, why is it taking so long for this movie to come out? They act like somebody is saying, hey guys, we want you to do a movie called Masters of the Universe. And they're like, what's Masters of the Universe? And we're like, we don't know. Write a movie about a guy with a sword. That's not the case. There's over 30 years of history laid right in front of you. Now take that history, see what made all of it good, and then make it into a good movie. That's all you have to do. Take that established material and the looks of these characters and write a good ass movie. Don't have something go into a crazy, bizarre thing with Tila being in high school or some nonsense that she came from Earth or whatever direction they spin it. Just do something that makes sense. That's what everybody in the chat room is saying. It's just, my God, have it be something that makes sense. Oh, and the whole thing with, yeah, and the Grimbot said, Keldor? Who's this Keldor you speak of, Joe? There's no Keldor. Yeah, you ain't kidding, especially when it comes to them bios and the other crap. And he does it on purpose to poke at me. But, yeah, so I just don't get it. It's
well, it's the same thing with, like, all of these properties. Turtles, G.I. Joe, they're like, let's do a movie on this. Don't worry about bringing any consulting people that actually know it and love it. No, who cares about that? Let's bring this guy in. You know, he did this and it made a lot of money. Well, let's go that way. And it fails miserably. Like, that's the one thing I just hope for with all of these properties going forward. I think about that Thundercats Roar video with that guy who clearly never really watched Thundercats. They're just like, I'm the creative force behind this show. Look at this. And then it cuts to that shelf with like DVDs and like a figure. I'm like, oh, well, clearly he loves it.
Right.
So that's what I would want mostly for this, is to be in the hands and written and directed by people that either grew up with it and love it, or have gone back and found an appreciation for it and really like it and dug into the material and spawn something from that. That's what I want. I was talking to Tyler. I'm like, the concept for Brave Star, that would make an awesome live action film. They need to bring that back, because I feel like that doesn't get enough appreciation in pop culture. But I just, man, you know that when it does come out, I feel like it's going to go that way of G.I. Joe and Transformers. It's either going to go in a completely ridiculous, hilarious yuck fest. Tyler's going to hate it because it's too comedic, or they could veer off and go the other direction and try to make it like too slick and like the Conan remake or like 300 or something, and try to make it too gritty, and that would just lose all of what made this special to begin with. So, man,
the tricky thing is, I still don't think a lot of people can do fantasy well. I mean, of course, there was, you remember the old Lord of the Rings, books and everything else, and The Hobbit and everything, which was great. And when it came into movies, I thought they did a damn good job. I know there was some things and changes and people wish there would have been in the movie that were in the book, but still, it kept a really good fantasy element. And I remember it brought a lot of people that I knew that hated fantasy that liked it, but they didn't modernize Lord of the Rings and having them speak like we speak, or have goofy references or outfits or anything that took you out of this fantasy element. You felt like you're still at. My sister absolutely hates fantasy. When that Lord of the Rings came out, for some reason, she was loving that damn movie, wanting to watch it multiple times. Young kids were, adults were. And see, this is the thing. I think they're actually scared. I think they're scared to try Masters of the Universe because they might think, people aren't going to like fantasy. So maybe if we do our take and our spin and slightly modernize it and feels more Earth-like, they'll enjoy it. It's like, you're not getting it then. It's like, why piss off the fans that have supported that, enjoy and love fantasy? Why piss us off and have us go away? Because here's the thing. If you're trying to think, let's hope we get the people that grew up with it and a new generation. Well, I'll tell you what, the new generation, if they don't take to it, then you're done, because not only have you lost them, but you lost us from the start because you pissed us off. So take that chance of making a good fantasy movie and believe in the imaginations of not only the original fans, but new generations, and let's hope they can have an attention span that lasts longer than 5 minutes playing out their phones. Yeah, but you hope so.
They don't. They can't even like sit still and not talk to anybody for 90 minutes. As we said before on the Halloween review on Beyond Retro, Tyler and I went to the theaters. He had to tell some guys to the left of him to shut up. I had to tell some guys to the right of us to shut up, because they just wanted to talk through. It's like, can you not sit here and just kind of keep to yourself for 90 minutes and look at the screen and pay attention to what's going on? No.
I wonder how hard that is for some people because they stress, turn off cell phones, do not talk in the movie.
That
You
was
wonder
a
if like shaking, like God, I can't have my cell phone for 3 fucking minutes. I'm gonna go
well.
nuts.
They even had the because it took them a second to get it going with the trailers, and it had it on the screen. Be quiet and be quiet and courteous to others. Please silence your cell phone. And it just sat there, and I'm like, well, no one's reading that. And I said it loud enough to where people around us would, and they still didn't pay any attention. It's
Well, I always like to have faith in humanity, and all I'd like to say is I'd hope that if they did it, they take the big chance, they have the guts and the courage to make a movie that is fantasy based. And remember, Masters not only is fantasy, but it's magic and science and technology all rolled into one. But you still feel like you're not on Earth. It's a fantasy world. I'd hope they could try it, not write it to where it connects to us, on Earth. And remember, this isn't, like you said, Turtles or G.I. Joe or Transformers, where it's still taking place on Earth, but it's a fantasy movie. This is Masters of the Universe. It's on Eternia. So please have faith in people, and hopefully they can have an attention span. That's all I want. It's like if you keep feeding them the crap, they're not going to know any better. That is all they'll know. But you never know. You might get surprised, and maybe people will actually say, "Damn, this is a good movie. I like this. It takes me it's an escape from here into this world that is not ours." I would hope that. I'd like to have faith in humanity, but I don't know.
I almost feel like too another idea if they don't want to do a live action, just kind of like do how Mattel did with the line, do the classics, make them taller, make them different, but still the same, and just do an animated movie. Have just go that route, I guess. But then you run into the whole thing of people associate these characters with the certain voices, and I imagine if they don't sound the same, that might be an issue as well. So
I would hope not, just because. Okay, I know that Tyler and there are some people that did have issues with particular voices in MYP's cartoon, but I thought they did a damn good job. Like when I would hear, like Prince Adam and then He-Man speak, I wasn't longing for the days of wanting to hear the Filmation voice for Prince Adam and He-Man. I was like, I understand this is, it's a new cartoon, but it looks like exactly what we know, telling the same type of stories, but new voices. I enjoy their voices, but I know some, got me, like Clawful and his being a moronic oaf. That annoyed the hell out of me. I didn't mind Eva Lynn, even though I know Tyler could not stand Eva Lynn's voice, but I like you said, I think if they did do a cartoon or at least a 1.5 hour movie, I thought that'd be a cool idea. And especially if, again, they look like we know they're supposed to look. And that can only, okay, like let's say if it was successful, maybe it could lead to a series for Masters of the Universe or more movies more often. But it's whatever direction they go, it's going to be met with, of course, probably some kind of like, oh boy, what's going to go on? But I just know when MYP came out, I lost my mind. I was like, this looks great. And I enjoyed everything because I understood who I was looking at. And they did write it fantasy-like. You know what I mean? They were still keeping it fantasy element. But yeah, there's a lot of factors that just went into the failure of that cartoon, of them trying to find different time slots to see when people would watch. Then the
well, yeah, I mean that all falls on Cartoon Network, really. Yeah. So that's not his fault of the creative forces behind it. It's more just the station and being like, well, we're gonna do this with it, and they're probably like, well, that's gonna kill it, and they're probably like, well, we don't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see a Pixar CGI. I don't think I'd feel like, because like Grimbot was like, yeah, he's like, should, but he said if they do it animated, it'd probably be CGI and Pixar cartoony style. I don't know if I'd flip over that. I don't know about the people in the chat room or you. I'm curious to hear what they'd say. But
you know what? If Pixar were the force behind it, then yes, I would be all for it. But if it's in that style and someone else is doing it, then I guess it would just sort of depend. But just put someone with it that just loves it and knows it. I mean, God, man, I saw someone in the chat is they can reach out to you and Tyler and Pixel Dan and Penny and everyone. There are people out here that know this and love it and consult these guys. And
that's the thing. I agree. I think that no matter who's, let's say, writing in or whatever studio, I think it is very paramount, not saying the company, but it's paramount that you do get some very passionate fans or people that know the property that can really consult and sit with you, just like they've said in the chat room, to tell you what would be some good things. Yes, you know that the writers and whatever and the directors are going to do their spin, But God, no, it's coming from fans that feel this and love it. Because I mean, why wouldn't you want to please the fans that have been supporting it since they were kids and have still loved it till this day? It's like any property, franchise, or football team or anything. There's always those passionate fans that are there, and you're usually there to please them. So why don't you just try to please the fans and then hopefully bring in the new fans? That's all you should be trying to do. Not just let's spin this in such a different direction
that
that
it
just
just
nobody wants to watch.
yeah, it just takes out everybody. No one wants to see it.
Yeah.
What did Febmon say up here? He said, "I'm guessing Tyler was more intimidating than Nathan when we were telling the guys to shove." Actually, you know what, Tyler, despite his size,
You're usually the nut, and he's always usually was normally the laid back. Like he might be.
Yeah, no, Tyler's a gentle giant. He looked over at the guys. It's like, hey, you think you can knock it off here? And meanwhile, I sit up from my seat and I just look over at the guy and I was like, dude, shut up. So I'm more of the scrappy fighter, and Tyler's just he's the big bear. But you don't want to make him mad. If you do make him mad, then it's not good.
It's not good. Yeah, because I thought you always said you were the one that usually lost your shit and your temper most of the time,
Yes.
and Tyler was the one that usually kind of laid back. But
I feel like Joe and I are kind of kindred spirits in regards to getting
anger
angry.
issues.
Yeah.
Oh my God! I just realized we both have a blue. Oh, mine's just solid blue. You have.
Yeah. I'm actually rocking the. Speaking of showing them some more love.
See, more
Yeah.
Friday
Yeah,
13th Part 8. Make that damn figure already, NECA. Enough. We've had every figure made.
Seriously, I got my stands right here, ready and waiting. If you can't stand up properly.
God, I can't say enough. They made Roy before they made Part 8 Jason. What the hell kind of world are we living in?
I know.
Don't get me wrong, I love it too, but come on.
No, if I had to pick one that I just didn't like that much at all, Part 5's it for me.
Yeah,
it's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong, but just at the end of the day, no.
Well, speaking of kind of horror stuff, and it was from your choosing, we're going to talk about a mini comic a lot of people don't talk about enough, but you know what? It has a horror feel, especially how it starts off. And
it was the one that because Tyler gave me a list, and I didn't go and read like each individual one and then pick. I just went off the titles. I'm like, yeah, that sounds appealing. He's like, that's the one I thought you would pick. Let me go ahead and let me get this big old book out here so we can kind of
so you can
break her down.
Yeah. And that's Grizzlor, The Legend Comes Alive. And beyond the beautiful art, which was it Bruce Timm? I think it was Bruce Timm that did the art, if I'm not mistaken. I just want to make sure I'm saying it correctly. If I say it's wrong, I know Grimbot or somebody in the chat.
Oh, yeah, it says Bruce Timm right here.
Well, the art's beautiful, and this is probably the scariest portrayal of Grizzlor you could see. I mean, I'm sure there might be others, but one of the scariest that I've seen, and especially how it starts off, because they're sitting around a campfire, and Buzz-Off's telling like a story, almost like they're sitting around talking about the legend of Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, well, I like how behind him, like Buzz-Off's like this, and then you just see the shadow of a beast just with claws out, like behind him. Yeah. To put this in perspective of how this is all going down, had Tyler been here today, I was just going to pop in during this segment because they want me to, especially since I have this book now, and I didn't really read a whole lot of the mini comics as a kid. I don't even really think I owned that many, maybe 2 or 3. They wanted me to just kind of pick stories, or they would pick stories, and I would go and read them, and we would just kind of talk about them, and I would give, I guess, sort of a fresh perspective from someone that's kind of new to it, honestly. So
that's what I was curious to hear your thoughts, and then I'll give mine, and we can ramble back and forth. But I just found it bizarre that you're such a horror fan, and I was like, out of all the mini comics, and this one starts like a horror movie.
Tyler knows me all too well, apparently. But yeah, no, it's cool because Buzz-Off's sitting here telling the story, and, you know, Tila's over here getting scared, and you kind of see this panel here where Buzz-Off's telling, he just kind of got like this menacing grin on his face, and it kind of made me think of you, honestly, thinking back to all those stories that you were telling me today about your love of scaring people. So I could see you around the campfire just telling stories, and then Tyler getting all scared.
But this is a tale that obviously was a true story. I mean, I guess Buzz-Off is known for, I guess, telling these tales around the campfire when they're out. But this is one that does have some truth to it when he's talking about Grizzlor. Grizzlor is a real being, and a pretty unstoppable, strong being, too, as you see later. I mean, later, because, my God, I mean, how when Fisto's coming at him, getting ready to blast him, and Grizzlor with just like a backhand, just blasts Fisto back like nothing. And then Man at Arms takes a blaster and shoots him full board. It does nothing. Grizzlor absorbs it and takes looks like a wooden club and blasts Buzz off and Man at Arms at the same time.
So it is kind of like they're fighting Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, that's why it's weird. So when Tyler might have suggested it to you and you're like, hey, it sounds good, I was like, this could be a more perfect story. And when people say they always want some like suggestion of, you got any Halloween type stories or things from Masters of the Universe you can suggest? This is the prime example if nobody's ever read it.
Yeah. It's just cool too, because after he tells the story, they wake up the next day because they're on their way back, and Buzz Off notices these huge footprints. It's like, oh, you know what? It could be Grizzlor. And then it cuts to Hordak looking through the portal, and it's just like, little do you know, he is real.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's just a cool shot here too, because Hordak's just sort of. I like the art. I don't know if it'll sit and reflect off right here. It kind of does a little bit, but I really like that panel, like right there, because I've always enjoyed Hordak's look. So just to see him right there in a side shot and the way that the coloring's done is just very effective.
No, it is, and it's also, like I said, within that story, you find out that Hordak wants Teela. He wants Grizzlor to capture Teela. And there's this weird connection that apparently Teela and the Sorceress, it's being referenced in here, but it almost makes it seem like if Teela's captured, she's going to then tell the secrets or magic or something about the Sorceress to Hordak, and that the Sorceress... I got a little... Okay, not that I'm lost. Now Tyler...
Oh.
We're saying anyway.
Oh, there we go. You kind of like stopped for a second. I was like, I'm about to lose Joe. Is this entire episode just going to go to hell?
God, wait! I better put my hands to the side. I forgot when I talk.
It's zooming in and out too much, and it just breaks everything.
Okay, guys, I'm half Italian, and we got to talk with our hands, so I'm going to try to keep.
That's all right. I talk with mine too.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you're with an Italian girl, so that explains it. So it's rubbing off on
yeah.
You. But don't say. Anyways. Well, hey, there you go. It does. It's contagious.
Yeah, rubbing off on me.
There you go.
Well, let's try to keep this PG-13, Joe. Come on.
Yeah.
It's a kid's show, damn it.
So, it is. But so there's this connection that they're referring to, and I didn't know if they were trying to like give a little nod to either their relationship in Filmation or from the whole cloning story from the Tale of Teela mini comic. But I just felt like there was something that was trying to be written there that maybe was different or was slightly combining or confusing stuff. But again, I just might have been looking too much into it. And I know, like I said, it's my interpretation. But
well, let me ask you this.
Oh, wait, hold up. Real quick. See, okay. And Fedmon just said it right now. Fedmon said, yeah, they're probably referencing the Tale of Teela mini comic. And yeah, that's what I thought. But it just, seeing that mini comic and then Filmation and then this, it's like a big combining of it all. But she was having her Cobra staff, so that was basically a nod to the old Torian comics. But she had more of the Filmation look, but of course Man at Arms had more of a vintage toy look, so a lot of combining. But again, like you said,
I was gonna ask you this, like, I know when this first started out, it was more of like they're just doing their own thing, and then when the cartoon comes along, how much did that begin to influence the mini comics? Were they still just sort of carving their own path with it, or was there...
The mini comics at one point, then of course, we're having some later on, we're having a little more Filmation kind of influence at parts, but even beyond that, they still like just combining all sorts of stories and going on their own stuff. Sometimes just looking at toys as reference, when they're drawing it. So there was a lot of just factors for all of them. There was never one set complete way each mini comic was done, but it's almost like when we were saying about for a movie, take some parts of all the best that you like and see what you could do with it. I mean, there's a lot of great history. And yes, even for mini comics at time could cause you, hey, but wait, but what? But you know what? It still kind of works. So that's what I mean. It was a little just tastes of everything, you could say.
Well, let me ask you this then. As a kid, bouncing back and forth between the cartoon and the mini comics, were there things that like it would confuse you? Just like, well, what is this all about? This isn't how they did it in the show.
Well, it's weird. I never had an issue because when I was growing up, it was always the toys first and mini comics. Then came the DC comics for me. Then came Filmation, and then came, of course, the mini comics just kept going more and more. But every time there was something that was slightly different, I was like, I don't care. Like in some of the even Star Marvel, I mean, like Scareglow was literally flying like Superman, like this. Like, I was like, I don't care. I never questioned any of the stuff because I thought, hell, it's just a cool little take. But
Yeah.
they looked like what we knew. Everybody looked like and had similar designs, similar stories, but just a little twist. I mean, it wasn't enough, enough to annoy you. It was just a twist, but it was something that was fun. No, I'm not going to tell you how old I am. Grimbot's like, how old are you, Joe?
Joe just turned 25 last month.
There you go. Thank you. Happy birthday.
That's the thing. Like, Joe is so mysterious. When we were talking earlier today, I'm like, Joe, how tall are you? And he was just very vague about it. He's like, well, I'm not really tall, but I'm not short either. I'm like, that doesn't tell me anything. So I'm just going to assume that he is a 5'9.5".
There, you could take that. That could work because I was like, I'm not really 6 foot tall. I was like, I don't know. It's like, but I'm not 6 foot tall. I'm in between there. I'm somewhere in there. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, all right. I actually really like this shot too when Tila goes in the cave. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like it too. And I like, that was it. Show that scene where when she went in there, you seen, and I think it's what you just showed, but showed it close with all those dead skeletons.
Yeah.
Scared of them, even though it's not.
Yeah, that's what I just showed right there. There we go.
That's creepy. That is. Could you imagine going like, oh shoot? She knows, okay, time to get out of here. And then when she goes out, that's when Grizzlor's taking care of everybody. I remember when I first read that mini comic, I thought Grizzlor was going to be in that cave. It's also cool to see her staff. She's using it as a light to go into that cavern. I thought that was a cool little touch.
Yeah, and I also like this part a lot as well. Oh man, this book's actually like heavy as shit. Right here. I like that a lot, how he's just pointing, and you still don't really see what he looks like right there. I enjoy that.
That is cool. And it's creepy. And damn it, Fedmon, I'm sorry, you're right. I was with my rambling excitement. I said flying in the DC comics. I did mean Star Marvel. I apologize. See, I can flub up all the time, but I own up to my mistakes. But thank you, Fedmon.
I like how these guys are here in the chat just waiting for you to mess. They're like, actually, no, this is what. And no, it's cool to actually have this here.
No, I like that because then, I know in my excitement I say stuff, and I know I probably screw up half the things I say sometimes, but I don't want to come across like I'm not informed, but they're there to help me out when I do say a screw up, because they know I say it a million times. My mind and my mouth both move a million miles an hour, and it's hard to keep up. So, but thank you for that, Fedmon. I appreciate you putting me back on. I mean, hell, I remember going to buy those suckers at it was at 7-Eleven. That's when I first found out about the comic. It was a complete accident. We went to the comic, and here comes an old story of Joe from his childhood that you guys always get a kick out of. But went in there, and I didn't collect comics as a kid. I never really collected. Really? I casually looked like, Oh, I'm sorry, Delvis, if I swore. I did not mean to do that. That was an accident. I apologize. So I was in 7-Eleven, and check this shit out. No, I didn't. No, so I was in 7-Eleven, and my mom was getting some stuff. I think we were getting some milk and some bread there. And I just randomly went over to those comics, and I was moving that circular rack, just looking.
Oh, God. Oh, man, I miss those so much.
Oh, me too. But I remember spinning. I was like, what? And I stopped, and I actually froze. I said, Mom, He-Man. I said, He-Man. He-Man's got a comic. And I was so hysterical. And she said, calm down, Joe. And I was like, but it's a comic. I was like, can we get it? Can we get it? And she was like, Joey, I just don't have the money. And I said, and I understood. I know we had our budget and stuff. I said, that's okay. And I put it back. There was this guy that was in line in the store. And oh God, and I hated seeing my mom cry. Oh God, if there's one thing I never liked seeing was my mom, God rest her soul. I never liked seeing her cry.
Yeah.
But we went up to that counter and had the bread, had the milk, and right before she was finished paying, the guy said, here, man, why don't you get that comic for him? And then gave the 75 cents. She said, no, sir, I can't do that. And she's like, and he said, please. He's like, your son looks like he really wants that.
Oh man.
And she like bit her lip, and then she said thank you, and then she said thank you, started crying, and oh God, and then I'm crying, and
I was gonna say, meanwhile, Joe just pulls the book off the shelf and just starts. I'm just giving you. Yeah, that's a cool thing. I actually did that once because it happens all the time, and I don't really. Kids can be like really annoying, but I like those ones that you see with their parent. They're actually nice and polite about it and asking about it, and not just like screaming at their parent that they want something. When they genuinely, like, you can sense it, because we were all kids once, and we all went down the toy aisles or wherever and found something picked out that we liked and asked and were turned down. So there was one time that it was some like little cheap toy, and this kid looked at his mom, was like, "Hey, yeah, you think we can get this?" And the mom's like, "No, we can't do that." Like kind of in just a mean way. So I pulled a Joe and kind of like followed them around the store a little bit, and then waited until they were checking out, and then I went ahead and like went to the self checkout on my own, checked that out, went up to them and like handed it to the kid. Of course, the mom looked at me like, "What did you do, you monster?" But I'm just like, oh, whatever, because I feel like kids need to actually enjoy being kids, and I know that there's a lot of kids that don't have that opportunity. But for me, like my parents, every week that we went to either Walmart or Hills, and we had another department store called Hex and Roses. I don't know if anyone remembers Roses here in the States, but pretty much anytime we went out on Friday or Saturday, I would get a toy. So I guess to see that not happening for a kid is just sort of disheartening, because kids grow up quick, especially these days, but when they still have that innocence to them, and they don't look at the world and see the world how we see it as adults, and get kind of jaded and burn out with stuff. And you gotta give them something, man.
Yeah,
because it's like, wait until you grow up. It's not fun.
No, and I think that's why sometimes some things really stick with you. You can have all these great memories, but I remembered after that, and when I got that comic, that's when I started understanding, okay, I'm going to be there every month. And I would scrape and save and find and look for any coins and dimes, nickels, whatever. And I made sure I had like $1.25, or because I think the first comic, I can't remember if it was 75 cents. I honestly don't remember if it was 75 cents or a buck. But I remember I saved.
Yeah, it had to be somewhere in between there.
Yeah. Well, I remembered I would make sure I had a buck or something. And I rode my bike to my local 7-Eleven nonstop every day when it was that next month. And when it was there, boy, that was like my time. I felt like I was king of the world. Like, man, look at me. I'm riding my bike 1.5 miles away from the house. And I was like, woohoo. But it was a cool feeling just to ride that far and then get that comic every single month. And so every one of my Star Marvel comics are from my childhood. And
that's awesome.
Yep, and I kept them in. I told you I had the board game Goonies, which was just so damn awesome. I love the board game of Goonies. But throughout the years of playing it so much, the board got wrecked and all the pieces, and damn it, had to get rid of it. But I still kept the box. The box art is beautiful. And what I did was I put my Masters Universe comics in a brown paper bag that was like a sleeve.
Yeah.
And I set it in there, and that was my storage area for my comics. So.
All right. Well, let's talk about this Goonies board game real quick. What was the goal? Was it sort of like, are you going through? Is it just like a space thing, rolling dice, and you're going through the different parts of the film, and there's different setbacks and traps that you can fall back to spaces?
I think there's spaces on there, but if I remember correctly, I swear there was a bunch of cards you would have. I'm trying to go back from old memories, and I forgot what little tokens or things came with that. I couldn't remember if the octopus was in play ever, but I know he was on the design of the box art, because I remember I'd tell so many people about the box art, and they'd say, and I'd mention that octopus, and people were like, "What octopus?" I was like, "The one that was in the movie." They said, "There wasn't no octopus in Goonies." I was like, "Yeah, there was." I said, "But it's not on all the movies. Sometimes you have to see it on TBS or something." And people thought I was insane until they caught the other version, like, "Oh, there's that octopus Joe's talking about."
Yeah, so weird. It's like one of those things, like an urban legend. It's like, oh yeah, but did you see the octopus? What are you talking about?
It is. It's cool as hell. If you guys never seen that giant board game from the 80s for the Goonies, check that out, somewhere. Try to find that eBay, or at least do a Google search for the cool box art. It's beautiful. And we got somebody new that said, finally catching us live. Kuso113 said, finally catching my first live with Joe Amato. Cool. So, yeah, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Sorry again that Tyler's not present on this episode. Can you imagine that he tunes in? He's like, all right, I'm finally going to see Joe and Tyler live. Who's this guy?
Who the hell's that? Wait, who? Nathan? What? Kennedy? What's going on? Like, okay, off. No, trust me, man. Like I said, you're doing a great job anyways. You're giving your experiences and stories, and it doesn't have to be like an obsessed lunatic like me. I mean, hell, you love Masters of the Universe anyways. You, like you said, maybe you didn't collect all the stuff in the comics, and that doesn't make you less of a fan. Like, you still like it, you like it. I love hearing what anybody has to say about the property.
Well, I appreciate that, Joe. I just imagine when we get off air, he's just like, you know what, that part you said, that really sucked.
No, I never do that. And like I said, that's what I love when I have even people in the chat room catching me. That's why I love it when we're live and we have them here, and that's how we do it. Is I want people to keep me on my toes. I always say, keep me on my toes, people. So if I screw up, you correct me. It's not like I'm not going to say, okay, Nathan, now you got to edit this podcast. So when we put it up later, take out the part where I screw up, or just add in a voiceover where I say, Star Marvel over DC.
and I just do your voice, but I do the voice that you use when you're trick or treating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people.
If anyone wants to know what that's in reference to, go and check out the Beyond Retro channel. There's a little video that Joe and I did before we did our Halloween episode today. That story is in there.
I'm just saying, it's free candy. If you could sit there and you put on a mask, do a little hunch, and walk a little.
I was just gonna leave it at that. But if you want to go ahead and tell all of these guys that story.
I'm just saying, he was talking about Halloween and stuff. We're talking about trick-or-treating. I said, you know what? I said, I don't care. I said, I'm going trick-or-treating this year, and I'll show you all the candy I get. And he was like, no, you're not. I was like, yes, I am. I said,
unbelievable.
I said, I got a lot of masks. I said, that's free food. I said, if I get some free candy, I'll take it. I said, I'll just put on a mask and then do a little hunch and go up and say, trick-or-treat. I said, that's my voice I'll do when I go. I was like, I want some candy, damn it. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, all right. Well, fine. Since you went ahead and told them this, let's go ahead and tell them this. Joe keeps a spare mask in there, so if anyone that's handing out candy is giving out full-size candy bars instead of the fun-size ones, he runs around the corner, reaches in his bag, puts on a different mask, and goes back up and gets seconds.
I'm just saying, people, it's a good strategy. You can tell your kids that, or even if you're up to it.
Oh, Joe.
I'm saying that if you go up to a house and it's in those good neighborhoods and they give a big old Hershey bar, you have a backup mask in your pillow sack, or in your sack, in your pillowcase, and you take it out, put it on, go up, and you get another big candy bar. I mean, what's wrong with getting a couple candy bars, damn it?
A couple. I bet you start at like 4:30 in the afternoon. You got like the map of your town, and you're like, these are all the streets I'm hitting. I got approximately 3.5 hours until this is all done. Got to make it happen.
I'd like to. They only get 2 hours though. It's just 6 to 8. That's all we get. But yeah, that was our random side rant. We do that once in a while. But back to a little more about that mini comic. Some more thoughts on which.
Yeah, well, I'm on the page right now because you started talking about when he's sort of fending them off. I'm here at the panel just where Fisto, like, he's winding up and he's like, not a chance, about to like swing at him, and Grizzlor's just like, ha.
Show that backhand like it's nothing. It's effortless.
Yeah, it's well, God, this book, man. If I had Tyler arms, this wouldn't be so heavy, but yeah, right there, just like nothing.
Yes,
so cool.
And they could even see in that same panel, they could even see where Grizzlor knocked Man-at-Arms and Buzz-Off back with one swing with that big-ass club. But this is one thing to where if you're looking at Grizzlor, he looks very intimidating. They obviously made him look very super powerful and quite scary. Like I said, it did have a horror feel. So if you're wanting to get into a mood or read that to your kids or just reread it yourself if you haven't in years, yeah, definitely check out Grizzlor, The Legend Comes Alive, because it has a little frightening feel to it. And He-Man isn't like the big giant star. Sure, he comes and pops up towards the end, but this isn't really about him. It's
yeah,
like I said,
and that's the cool thing too about these mini comics. Not all stories revolve around He-Man, which is a plus. Because I mean, it's nice to have your main character present for most of the stuff, but honestly, most of the memorable episodes of like any cartoon you can think of are the ones that just don't involve those characters. And that's going to Justice League Unlimited. That's what I really appreciated about that show. Was it's not all about Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. It's like, here's an episode about Booster Gold. It's just really cool.
I think that's what sticks out, is because when you do see the characters that aren't the main stars of the cartoon or comics not there, your brain is starting to refocus. You're wondering, wait a second, and it's really telling a tale of, well, whether it's about Fisto battling off everybody in Clash of Arms, or this one that's focusing mainly on Grizzlor and the trek that you see with Teela and Man-at-Arms and Hordak and Fisto and everybody coming into fray. But it makes you, like I said, I guess, pay a little more attention because you're seeing something out of the norm of what you normally see. Maybe that is why they're maybe a little more memorable, possibly.
Yeah, sorry, I was like looking at the book when you were like talking.
Okay.
Sorry, because I was just gonna bring up this next panel. This is another favorite shot of mine. where it's just like you just see his grin and ha ha ha. She's falling through to the dungeon of horrors.
It's a cool ass, like I said, it's a cool ass mini comic. That's why I was curious all your thoughts on it when Tyler suggested, and then you had choices and you picked this one. I mean, did you have multiple choices from Tyler, or did he just say, "Would you like to do it?" Because I'm curious of maybe what led you to wanting to do that mini comic. It's just
all right. Let me scroll through the text messages here real quick. I should be able to find it fairly fast.
I find it, like I said, just kind of bizarre that it did come to this. You know, especially with the tone of it, the look of that mini comic, and well, obviously the story that's told. I mean, it's basically a thing of, you know, a who cried wolf, because that's what they're basically talking to Buzz-Off about at the end, because I guess Buzz-Off, since he's told tales before, this one, though, it ended up being true. So it's basically, okay, kind of tell the truth or don't do the cry wolf thing. It's kind of like one of those morals, but hell, this one, he was really telling the truth in it. That's why I figured, well, don't yell at him too much. I mean, I guess now he'll say, okay, I'll make sure I'll tell only the tales that are real, if you want to get that out of it.
I sit here as I say, oh, it'll be easy to find this text message, and I can't find it.
Yep. And I was gonna say, Kuso did mention up in the chat room about Hordak's armor. Yeah, I think a couple issues it was drawn like that. There's something cool about the design of his armor. Hell, I always said that's just a kind of a grisly, gnarly, nasty looking face of Hordak too. And we've seen it in a couple issues, and I always thought, damn, that would be a cool looking head to have in classics form if they did that, or hell, heck, even vintage if they did it.
Yeah, no, I think that would actually be really awesome as well. I would like to have a classics in that form. I'm trying to think, maybe he Facebook messaged me about it. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. I don't know.
See, now
I can't. God, why? It's just like when Tyler's put on the spot of trying to remember something and he can't, and he's like, damn it.
If I forget something, I like to just say, well, I forgot. I don't know. Or I'll just misquote something like I did earlier. It just happens, but hell. If you can't find it, ain't no big deal. And yeah, Grimbot said, yeah, next week you guys ought to do commentary on Star Comics issue number 10. Huh? Wait, just read through I don't know if he means actually read through the whole comic. That's the one thing we never usually did is, I don't know if that's what you meant, Grimbot, but yeah, I know that half the time I don't want to read it all. I like fans experiencing some of it. That's why we do little bits and pieces that we choose and take out of the comic, just to give a little bit, I guess, a little taste. But, oh yeah, and Grimbot said it's based on an early design. He said, though, the face may have been changed by Tim for the mini comic. Yeah, I think I know. I
found it.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. He said, Spikor strikes, Grizzlor the legend comes alive, the hordes of Hordak, or the Battle of Roboto. Those were the choices. So he probably set it up that way because he's like, well, if I put these out, I imagine if I do this one's really going to stick out to him.
Yep, I was trying to find something. Where the hell would I put that? Shoot, I'm sorry, guys. Didn't mean to curse if I did again. But no, it's I mean, that's a mini comic. I mean, you've seen some of the interior pages that Nathan was on, but I mean, it's just, man, that is a beautiful, beautiful cover and just a great mini comic. Again, my old vintage childhood mini comic. It's this is a great one. So if you guys haven't read it, read this, and if you don't get it through a little mini comic form, get that gigantic book.
This big, huge, heavy book.
It's well worth it. It's full of all the mini comics from Masters of the Universe, Princess of Power, New Adventures, and has some other stories in there as well from some like book form audio record books. So it's got plenty of stuff in it if you guys have never read it. And if you don't want it, buy that. At least it'll save you from searching and getting these all individually and paying more for each single one. Unless you just like having those. But it's nice to have that so you don't have to go through these. But I'm a moron. I have that giant book like he does too, but I still like picking up my vintage ones.
Oh no, because I mean, honestly, you can't. I always enjoyed the back of the mini comics because it always had selected figures on the back too.
And it did, and I also like. You guys know how the Fright Zone is, the toy set of the Fright Zone, and you know how you have the monster puppet. I like the little. It doesn't look like it's supposed to be a monster coming out, but it looks like the cave itself. If you look at this here.
Yeah.
Looks like it has teeth, like it's alive. It's so nasty and just organic and gross, but that's cool. You guys got to get this son of a gun right here. So yeah, if you don't have it, get the giant book or get this mini comic.
Yeah.
But did you have any final thoughts on that, Nathan? Before we can ask like the chat room if they have anything they want to ask us, because it'd be cool to see what they might want to ask you. Whether it's thoughts from mini comics, cartoon, movie, anything. But what are some of your final thoughts?
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of skim through the end here. You know, it's like they find He-Man because they're like, oh, well, we got to get He-Man. There's no way we can do this. And I like the fact that they find the portal and he's like, well, we're just gonna go straight on through it. And Hordak obviously wasn't expecting that. And I think the other panel that I really enjoyed is when Fisto slams down here on the ground, and it just sort of ripples through right there.
Yeah, I got a good old He-Man vibe from that. Or sometimes
Yeah.
when he hits the ground, whether it's with his fist or the sword, and it comes forward, that's the vibe I got out of that. I swear that we've seen something similar. I'm sure Grimbot would be able to find or tell me, or even Fedmon, but I thought there was a particular page in a mini comic where He-Man did something almost in that same vein of hitting with his fist or with the sword. And Grimbot, no, he said he just meant us talking about Star Marvel issue 10. He said that's what he meant, not commentary. Yeah, we'll do that the next week because that's another one that we could talk about. But
yeah, no, it's cool. Like we said, it reminds me a lot of it takes a lot of elements from Friday the 13th movies and telling these grandiose tales like you see at the beginning, and they turn out to be true, and it's just kind of cool. And it gives you that little message at the end where Buzz Off's like, well, I'm not telling these anymore. So
right.
no, just neat. And like we talked about, one of the other handfuls of times that I've been on the show, that's always been the thing that has drawn me to this property is the art, period. Like anytime I see it, I'm like, man, that just looks cool, and that draws me in. It's like, well, what's this about? So I've always taken the art and the designs of the characters kind of more over anything else. That's what always sticks out to me. It's like with Trapjaw here. This was brought up on the show last week, and he came in the mail this week. It's so awesome just because Trapjaw looks so cool, and he's always been one of my favorites, even as a kid. So it's nice to just finally have him here. And it sucks how much I had to pay for him, but it is what it is, right?
Oh yeah, and now it is when the secondary market comes up. And I guess that'd be a question for you: is do you have a desire to collect more figures since you got that one, or no, or like what would you say?
I would like to have a Triclops. I look at the prices, I'm just like, I don't know. I would like to have a Faker. I actually looked at the prices before we started the show, and I'm just like, and I'm not the one that like I don't want them men on card. If I can get them loose, that's fine because they're just going to be displayed on the shelf anyway. I kind of feel like with what I have, I am kind of close to a point of being like I might not get any more, but I did pre-order Karg off the Big Bad Toy Store, so that will be coming in because I have all the other movie figures.
You had those.
Yeah. It's only fitting that I get kind of the last piece, at least for now. That's out. We'll see. It kind of comes and goes. It hits me in phases. I'll look on eBay and I'm like, well, how much is this guy? And then I'm kind of just immediately turned off because the secondary market's just not good. And we also have a guy around here locally that has tons of toys, but he's a dick. And his prices.
Wait, what happened? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Wait, what now?
He's a dick. He's one of those guys that his store is set up. He takes his time to set up all these elaborate things, or just has them out on display. And there's just signs everywhere: "Do not touch. Do not touch. Do not touch." So even if you went to just like pick up a figure just to look at it and make sure that there's nothing wrong with it, he'll come and yell at you. I'm like, well,
even if you're checking the condition, you seriously?
Yes. And I'm just like, anytime anyone comes into a store, he's watching everybody like a hawk. And, especially when kids come in there, he's very like, don't. I'm like, well, don't have them set up this way. Have a barrier in between, like have a wall set up and then have like counter space so no one can go in behind there but you or something. And it's just, and his times are weird. Like you see his hours of operation, and clearly he's supposed to be open, and the store's closed. And when we used to go to him, Tyler was all like, "I'm getting this. I'm getting this." I'm just like, "Dude, you're spending close to like eBay price, if not more, on some of this stuff." And to him, he's like, "Well, I have it in hand, whatever." I'm like, "Yeah." And this guy used to be a wrestler, and when I say that, he was one of those guys that were like weekend warriors, just shows up to these little independent shows and whatever. It's like, here's a picture of me and Matt Hardy. I'm just like, dude, I don't care. Like,
just an indie wrestler, you mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, he was kind of full of himself, and he just talks down to people, and his prices are bad. So he's
What
there.
annoys me about some things, as for like when it comes to shows, I don't know if it was what was that show that was on TV? I don't know if it was called Toy Hunter or what, where that
Yeah,
one guy. Okay,
yeah,
well, I remembered before that show came out, I remember they hit up all the time on eBay mint in box spy doors. I mean, beautiful boxes, some kind of messed up, but you could get a really great mint in box spy door with slightly jacked up box. It'd be like 80, $90 on eBay. I mean, and they
yeah.
were beautiful. Then there came that episode where he went and bought a spy door from somebody. I can't remember what he paid, like 130. He said, I can sell it for 200. Coincidentally, I went to one of the local stores we had that sold movies, and they had toys and things. Would you bet that they had a mint in box spy door with a pretty jacked up box? $200.
I hate that.
Yeah,
I just if you guys are into video games and retro video games, and if you don't know about them already, go on YouTube and look up the Game Chasers. It's a show that's honestly edited really well. Like, just it's slick, and those guys are fun. And watching that show and seeing eBay prices, and then going to flea markets myself and seeing things, it's like, here's a Super Mario Brothers 3, $40. I'm like, no. That is a common ass game. It's common. Like everybody had that game. Just because someone bought it, buy it now on eBay for $40, and everyone else listed it as such. It's like, no, it's just
right,
because
and it changes and screws the prices, and then
yes,
now everybody thinks that's it. But sure enough, I went up to that guy. I said, "Selling this for 200?" I said, "Yep." I was like, and I said it sarcastically, but not to give away. I was like, "Did you see that price on a TV show or something?" He's like, "No, that's just how much they run for." I was like,
sure.
I'll just let you know. I said, these go for around $70, $80 on eBay. He was like, well, I don't do eBay prices. I do collector prices. I was like, okay. I was like, thanks a lot. And I put it back up. And that thing, I think, has still been there all this time. Nobody is going to buy it. I know what you did. You seen that damn TV show. You seen a price. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to get 200. No, you're not going to get 200. Just the price, like I said, it just screws everything up when it comes to prices. The only thing I got a deal on where I knew it might have been expensive, but I was too giddy for it, was when I got the Battle Armor Skeletor Landshark collector box, both in the same thing. Remember, and I got that for $15 at a flea market, and that thing was like $800-900 in even better shape. It'd be over $1,000. So I lost my mind when I seen that, but I didn't have money to pay more or nothing. I was like, well, they're selling it for 15. I'll take it for 15. I mean, what am I supposed to tell them? Like, hey, that sucker's worth $1,000.
No, you never do that. I've come across stuff at flea markets, and in my head, I know I've seen it on eBay before. I know the price of it, and it's happened plenty of times. I look at them, I'm like, how much you want for that? And they're like, $10. I can't get my wallet out fast enough. I'm like, oh man, this guy's a sucker. Here, take my money. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, with that, yeah. Oh, and Fedmon just corrected me. And thanks, Fedmon. I told you, my mind it goes that quick. He said, Joe, the mini comic that He-Man broke the ground in was Hordak, the Ruthless Leader's Revenge. You talked about it last week, for goodness sake. So thanks, Fedmon. I appreciate that. I think it was a couple weeks before that. But either way, you're right. So there you go. I knew I seen it, so I knew I wasn't crazy.
Yeah. Here's the thing about toys, video games, any of that stuff from the 80s, 90s, whatever. Yes, some of it is kind of rare, just for the main fact that not a lot of them were made. Now, here's the thing. Not all old things are worth a lot of money. I mean, think about it. Master Universe, this thing was super popular back then. So mass-produced. Lots of them exist. Yes, they might not all have their accessories. Yes, they might not be mint on card, whatever. Point being, if this thing is missing all of its accessories and looks like it's been rubbed in mud for the last 6 years, do not charge the same price of what you saw a completed one, mint on card, whatever, on eBay. Like, just don't do that.
And I see that a lot when I'll sometimes, rarely, but when I would see that at a flea market and somebody has He-Man there, no armor, no weapons. The legs have that wobbly syndrome, as you guys in the chat room might know, where the rubbery legs, the rubber is going out and sometimes they fall off.
Or the legs just like twisted the other way and you can never get it back again. Yeah.
It's like $35. I was like, do you know this is worth probably $2? I said, this is nothing.
I like that you do that, because I honestly don't have the guts to just look at it.
Because Well, you know me, because I don't ever try to pull my Masters card. Like, hey, no pun intended. But I don't want to say, hey, excuse me, I'm a Masters of the Universe fan, and you don't know nothing. But I do tell him, I was like, I make these figures for a living with customs and everything. I said I follow Masters, and then I say things that I've done and doing podcasts. But I was like, this is literally $2. You're not going to sell this for 35. I said maybe if he had all his weapons, you get close to that. I said, but that's not even in mint condition. Then I said, look at these legs, and I described scuffs and when the paint on the hair is missing.
Man, you really go into detail with it.
Oh, I do. And sometimes they do the classic mixing and matching of arms where Clawful's arm is on Fisto or something. I'm like, oh, God, guys, this ain't even a complete figure.
Do they just kind of look at you and cross their arms and just sort of like...
Oh, they do give me a look like, who is this store that's trying to tell me anything about these figures? I will still sell them for 35. And they don't. But some people genuinely know it. And I think they want to clear out what they have. And when I say, trust me, this is about $2. I said, I'll give you $2 for each figure you got there. Some have actually said, all right, I'll do the $2 for each. Because I think they realized, okay, maybe some of them know what they're doing. And then they come across suckers. But they don't get suckers all the time. Sometimes you get somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Man. Yeah, I could see like that figure doesn't sell. And then like, you know what? Maybe that Rey Amato was right. Whatever his name was.
Yeah, okay. And JSP said, I don't know if he's doing a quote, maybe, but it sounds familiar. He said he's got one for us. He said, what's the threat? He said, we all sell out every day. Might as well be on the winning team. I feel like I know that movie.
I feel like I know that too.
Oh, damn, it might as well be on.
Yeah, I when it comes to movie quotes, I'm no Tyler. I mean, I have a quote for Joe because I feel like we gotta keep in line with that. But yeah, that one, the might as well be on the winning team part's the one that like it's getting my mind going.
That does sound super familiar. He's gonna have to give us the answer. And Zentron has something for you. He says like, Nate, My Little Pony or Equestria Girls?
Neither. Yeah, you would have to ask her. I don't know if anyone heard like a clang just now. She's in there making s'mores cookies, and I think she's making some sugar cookies too. This is like last week. She was in there making
I heard
something.
With the pots and pans last week. I heard that. But I mean, that's good. At least she's doing that. I mean, she's keeping your collector drive going, because once you go ahead and you eat that stuff, you want to go get My Little Pony more figures and everything like that. So, but we understand it though.
Yeah, I need to. I seriously, when we do these, I need to move that out of the way. It's like he's into My Little Pony. What's a Boogie Nights poster? It's like he's all over the place.
Well, he said, "Thank John Carpenter." Was that They Live? Was that from They Live?
Wait, yeah, I think you're right.
It's in a John Carpenter movie, and now for some reason I thought that was from They Live. So I guess he'll give us the confirmation. But
wait. Oh, vampires.
Vampires? Well, shit. Or shoot.
I'm pretty sure it's because Jobber DG said Padre, and I'm like, yeah, vampires.
You guys are gonna hate me. I've never seen.
Yeah, no, that's right. Because we brought it up to you. It's like, let's do this as an episode, because I bought the Blu-ray for it and actually bought Tyler a copy.
Never seen it. So
dude, you need. That's so good. It's fun. It's fun. I wish they made more films like that these days, because it just
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
Definitely have to check it out. But, well, I'm going to get ready to wrap this up here in a second, but I want to see if Nathan had anything he want to say to you guys or suggest stuff. But, of course, again, I want to thank you guys for always being here and being part of the show. It always makes it that much more fun. Beyond when we talk, love interacting with you guys. But go ahead there, Nate.
Oh, no, it's always a pleasure. It's always nerve-wracking for me to come on this show, because I'm just like, well, what if I'm not up to par? Especially when Tyler's not here, because I honestly think this is the first time you and I have done an episode of Fans and Power. It's like, well, Tyler's not here. What's I hear the mixer going in there. Anyway, I hope that I did all right for you guys this week. I hope it was fun. It was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you guys as well. As far as recommendations, Game Chasers on YouTube, I think that's really well done. If you guys are kind of into gaming magazines, there's Classic Gaming Quarterly, and basically what he does is you just see his hands and the book that he's talking about. So it can be like Game Pro from 1992, and it goes page by page and starts like, here's this, like, you just see, you basically walk through this entire magazine, and it does cut to clips of the games that he talks about, and it's just really cool. I
I
think
love
that
those old school mags. Like I said, I got tons of them, and damn it, I love those old Game Pros, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Game Fan. I remember there was one particular issue of Game Fan where somebody ranted. They went on this weird rant, and it wasn't edited. People didn't catch this page. It was supposed to be, I think, about a baseball game, and this one guy went into the nastiest racist joke or rant about people that were Japanese. I was like, well, I remember reading. I'm sitting there, I'm looking through the stuff. I'm trying to look at, like, okay, this big game, yeah, that looks cool. And I read, and I was like, what the hell am I reading? I was like, what is this? I was like, this is what? I didn't understand. I was like, I don't know what's going on. And next month, I guess they addressed it and apologized it, and the guy was fired. And then everybody wanted to own the magazine because it was something that got past the editors. Like,
wow,
Jesus, guys
yeah,
need to check your stuff before you print it.
man. God, yeah, that's always, yeah, it's kind of amazing that eked by. I'm still trying to think of other things to recommend because I know Tyler always recommends Kevin Sharp's artwork and Axel's artwork. Those links are down below in the description. So if you guys want to check out their pages and send them a message and hit them up.
One thing real quick, JSP said it was from They Live. He says it was a guy that was from the homeless shelter that Nada and Frank encounter. So
see, that sounds like it could have been in either They Live or Vampires, because either of those sort of had like that divisive. Here's this side. Here's this side.
Maybe John Carpenter just liked that line, and I don't know, it popped up in a bunch of his movies. Maybe it was an homage to the old days. Maybe we'll hear it in was it in the new Halloween? I don't think I heard it there. No, we just seen that. But well, and I think Delvis was asking you. He said, "What is the book that Nate has?"
Oh yeah, it's the mini comic collection here. I'll go ahead and show you I got it on Amazon. I want to say it was about $25 when I bought it, which to me that's kind of a steal because seriously, like it's got every mini comic in it, and just look how thick it is. This thing probably weighs a good 8 to 10 pounds. It feels like
it is a monster book, and I mean, all of the books that they had so far are big, but yeah, that one you can murder somebody with, like I've said a million times.
Yeah, Joe brought that up again. I'm like, who have you murdered with that book, Joe?
I don't know. No, I mean, you picture doing things. Well, and they had that newspaper book is big too. What's weird is my dad talked, and it was funny. They had something on TV to where they showed something, made me think about something. One time my dad was talking about like some kind of cyst he had on his hand. And he was like, the doctors had to remove it. He said, you know how they removed it? I said, I don't have a clue. He says, they slammed it with a book and it just busted it. And that was it. It was done. It just broke because it was just water that was on the inside during fluid. And they said that's an old school remedy. I was watching some show called, was that Ridiculousness? No, No, actually, I think it was Funny Home Videos today. And they showed some guy who's talking about, here's a cyst I have in my hand. Watch this old school remedy. And his son took a book and just slammed it and busted this giant cyst. But it didn't bleed on the outside. It just busted inside. So, yeah, that's kind of gross. But Zentron had a quote, as I'm going to wrap it up and thank everybody. Maybe you get this. His quote is, sorry if I scared you, but that platform was just becoming too unstable. Damn it. I don't know. So I'm going to have to wait for your answer. And I want to see everybody's thing as I scroll down. Wait, there might have... Oh, Adam Gabbard had something. He said... Joe and Nathan, what are your thoughts on the Super 7 Grayskull black and white figures with Castle Grayskull in the background? He said, I know Joe saw mine that I remember. Wait, what? What?
Grayscale black and white figures with Castle Grayskull in the background.
Oh, the little Super 7. Oh, the little ones. I was thinking, did they do big ones? No, those are cool. I like any times they do some little different twist on something, and especially when collectors eat them up. I didn't buy any because I haven't bought a lot of stuff in a long time, but... No, those did look good. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but yeah.
I honestly, no, I have not seen these.
Oh, okay. Well, it is kind of cool. Zentron said that quote that he mentioned was from Aliens. And you know what? I hated saying this because I've always said it to you and Tyler, and you both think I'm insane. I've seen Aliens once in my life. Once. And everybody's like, how could you not see that movie more than once? I'm like...
How can you not watch that movie more than once?
I don't know. It's a shame on me, I guess. There's some movies that I've seen a lot more than others, but that's one I barely have seen. But yes, well, again, I wanted to thank every one of you guys.
Well, wait, hang on. Jobber DG had a question that's Friday the 13th related. Yeah, would a Pamela Voorhees figure sell well enough to justify making her? I think so, but they would probably have to put her in a 2-pack kind of thing, or give her some accessories.
Well, they've done Pamela Voorhees a couple times. They did one. Yeah, they did one where she's packed with Jason. It was the damn it, do you call it Mego style? I thought it was more of the doll style, but then they also released one a while ago from, was it NECA, where she's just a figure? Because I have her over here. I have the Pamela Voorhees figure, and they also had the head one that was decapitated with the Part 2 Jason. But
yeah, see, I remember the head one, but I don't remember her being a standalone figure. See, this is the point in the show where Joe's setup will just fall everywhere.
That would have been sucked. Oh, there's Pamela Voorhees. See? Yeah, they made her. She was her own figure. But he said, like maybe as an ultimate one. No, hell, if they did as an ultimate, I'm sure that she'd sell. I mean, remember, she was the first one. Before Jason, it was Pamela.
You know, it is amazing that people just think that Jason's been in all of them. That's how you can tell. To me, that's like a perfect gauge of how much into this genre are you. Who is the killer?
Hold the scream quote on him. Who was the killer in Friday the 13th?
But no, that's a good way to tell.
Yeah, he was in the movie, but he wasn't the killer. So Jason officially was in all the movies, but he just wasn't the killer in the first one. Because remember, he jumped up at the end, rink, falling Alice into the water or whatever. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought for a second you didn't. I was like, Nathan, you're scaring me. You're not acting like you remember Jason jumping up out of water down.
Well, of course, that's like the biggest jump scare in that movie.
Okay, good. Oh, Jesus. All right, well, I think now I'm finished. So I hope I didn't miss anything. I didn't see your second quote. Zentron said he had another
There were so many quotes in this one between JSP and Zentron, and I feel like someone else was tossing them out there too. We just got them all confused.
Okay, Zentron's second one was, "Oh, that would be me. I've been swimming in raw sewage." And he says, "I love it." Was that from Naked? Wait, I almost thought that was in Naked Gun. Was that in Naked Gun, the first one?
Oh man, that's the thing that you and I are just like terrible at movie quotes.
Well, the thing is, I love movies. Sometimes the quotes go over my head, but I almost thought it was Frank Drebin from Naked. So, okay, guys. Well, he'll probably pop it up here in a second, but let me do my closing. First, I want to tell anybody, if you're new to this channel and you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and make sure you ring the bell so you can always be notified of any new content we do. And, Zentron said it was Naked Gun 2.5, so there. Okay, good. I was close. I said the first one, it was the second one, but I knew Frank Drebin said it, I think. But I want to thank you guys for for being here, joining us. I love interacting with you every week. It's always a blast. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Hey, Skid Mark Steve. Cool. You still hanging out, playing Nintendo?
Skid Mark Steve playing Nintendo. Skid Mark Steve. Oh, God. Can you give me a hint? Tyler wouldn't do that. But could you give me a hint?
It's from the same creative force of Naked Gun.
Oh, that was basketball?
Yeah, you got it.
Of course, I don't remember the guy who said it, so I'm a failure. But thank you guys. It was great having you. See you next week.
See you guys.